tonight were computer servers owned by a Russian bank and the Trump organization communicating with each other. And what, if any, connection does this have to the campaign and President Trump's tweet storm last week accusing President Obama of tapping his phones? We have new information about those questions, and we'll speak with the ranking Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee. He and 7 other House and Senate counterparts and members of the leadership met today with FBI Director James Comey. More on all that. First, though, let's turn to the server story. CNN Justice correspondent Pamela Brown and investigative reporter Jose Palieri have been looking into it and start things off for us tonight. Pamela, what have you learned about the investigation?
Well, Anderson, we've learned FBI investigators and computer scientists continue to examine whether there was a computer connection between the Trump organization and a Russian bank called Alpha Bank. This is according to several sources familiar with the investigation. Now, this is the same server mentioned in a Breitbart article that a White House official said sparked Trump's series of tweets last Saturday accusing investigators of tapping his phone. CNN is told there was no FISA warrant on this server. Questions about the connection between the server and the Russian bank were widely dismissed 4 months ago as an attempt by Alpha Bank to block spam. But, Anderson, we're learning that the FBI's counterintelligence team, the same one looking into Russia's suspected interference in the 2016 election, is still examining it. And one official I spoke with said the server relationship is odd. It's seen as somewhat perplexing, and investigators are not ignoring it. But the FBI still has a lot more work to do to determine what was behind the unusual activity and whether there's any significance to it. The FBI declined to comment, and the White House did not respond to our request for comment. Anderson.
So, Jose, I mean, it's kind of confusing. Explain what was odd about these communications between this Russian bank and,
sure, Anderson.
and
this can get pretty technical fast. What's so odd about the communication here is that this Russian bank repeatedly looked up the unique internet address of a particular computer server in the U.S. being used by the Trump organization. In the computer world, it's the equivalent of looking up someone's phone number over and over and over again. And while there isn't necessarily a phone call, it usually indicates an intention to communicate. And that's according to several computer scientists we spoke to. Now, a group of computer scientists who obtained these leaked internet records they were never supposed to make public, they were puzzled as to why a Russian bank was doing this. Was it trying to send an email to the Trump organization? These scientists just couldn't tell. Now, last summer, during the presidential campaign, the Russian bank looked up the address to this Trump corporate server some 2,800 times. That's more lookups than the Trump server received from any other source. The only other entity, curiously enough, doing so many internet lookups for Trump's server was Spectrum Health. That's a medical facility chain led by Dick DeVos, the husband of Betsy DeVos, who was later appointed by the president as U.S. Education Secretary. Those two entities alone made up 99% of the lookups, and computer scientists we spoke to just found that plain weird. All of the corporations involved say they never communicated by email with the Trump organization, and they have different explanations for the server activity, but they haven't provided any proof, and they don't agree to what the explanation is. For example, the Russian bank thinks it was receiving Trump hotel marketing last summer, but it hasn't provided CNN with a single email to back up that theory. Meanwhile, the American marketing company that would have been sending Trump emails said it wasn't doing that at the time. And Alpha Bank, for its part, stressed that not a single executive has had any affiliation at all with the president or the Trump organization. Their statement says that neither Alpha Bank nor its principals, including Mikhail Friedman and Petra Avin, have or have had any contact with Mr. Trump or his organizations. So this potential computer link remains a mystery.